Hey everyone, I am back. For now at least. But a lot of you, I remember on TikTok were asking, does he have a YouTube channel? And other people would chime in and say,
He does, but he never uploads.
so of course, I'm here to chat and catch up because it's been a while. First and foremost though, my heart goes out to everyone who's been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. I know that seems to be everyone is affected, but primarily those of you who either suffered from the coronavirus or have lost loved ones to COVID-19, my heart goes out to you. And second of all, those of you who have been affected in the way that you've lost your jobs or are trying to figure out what your next steps are because of the pandemic. I know there's a significant portion of our population that is going through that as well. So my thoughts are with you, despite the fact that, you know, I'm working still as a health professional. That is not lost on me at all. And I know that we're all very eager to try to reopen things. And believe me, I am tired of this as well. And I want us to reopen as soon as we can as well. But we just need to make sure that we have everything in place and that all the precautions are taken. Otherwise, we'll be back at square one and we're going to experience another surge. And I think that that could be really problematic. We're all going through this together. This is something that none of us have ever experienced in our lifetimes. And so we're all trying to find our new normal here. All right, so I know some of you were already previously subscribed to me, but for those of you who are new to my channel because of TikTok or from wherever you found me, whether or not you stumbled upon my channel at some point, hello, my name is Austin Chang. You can call me Dr. Austin. You can call me whatever you want, really. But I am a gastroenterologist by training. I am triple board certified in gastroenterology, internal medicine, and obesity medicine. My subspecialty within gastroenterology is advanced endoscopy, so I do very complicated procedures, mostly related to the pancreas, to the biliary system. I deal a lot with cancers of various digestive organs, and I also do non-surgical weight loss procedures. And you can catch some of my other previous videos from a while back about all these things that I sort of got into beforehand. I think what begs an answer is the question of where I've been and why it's taken me so long to upload. And I think the simple answer to that is that I've just been busy with my day job. And the other reason is because we've been facing this entire pandemic. And as you can see, I've got quarantine hair here, untrimmed and unkempt a little bit. And, like I said, we're all trying to find our new normal here. And, at this point, I figured,
there's no room to be self-conscious about anything. Let's just get on here and chat with you and maybe answer some of your questions and just
get involved again. Truth be told, I have been doing that just on other social media platforms, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So that has been taking up some time and taking away from YouTube time. But if you haven't already, go check those out. I have been in the conversation and talking about these things, but I also want to talk about why I've been gone, in the sense that I think that there are a lot of creators on YouTube who are putting out really great information. And I felt that, you only have so many hours in a day to watch information about coronavirus, that I would only be adding to some noise. And I also feel that, I'd like to stay in my lane a little bit and not capitalize on a pandemic, because that's not what I'm here for. But that's really, why I've been gone and why I haven't been talking about the pandemic as much as I think some people may expect me to be talking about on a platform like YouTube. And just to clarify, I'm not saying that other people are capitalizing on the pandemic on here. I think a lot of people, physicians and other health professionals who are talking about COVID-19 here are doing a great job debunking myths and clarifying questions. Whew. So I know our worlds have been turned upside down because of this pandemic. And none of us probably expected 2020 to be looking like the way it currently does. We're already halfway into May and it seems like the pandemic has taken over our lives. But I will say that, when we first learned about coronavirus, I did, keep it in the back of my mind not to dismiss it, because I actually lived abroad in Taiwan for middle school and high school. And at the time, back in 2003, my senior year in high school, we were hit with the SARS epidemic, one of the other previously known coronaviruses. And SARS actually also carries a higher risk of death compared to the estimated numbers for COVID-19. But at the time, a lot of what we're experiencing now, we didn't experience then because it didn't quite hit the US. But back in Taiwan, it certainly was a big scare there. I still have memories of having to line up before going to class at school to get my temperature taken, and everyone had to wear a sticker to confirm that they got their temperature taken, and anyone who had symptoms or had a fever had to be quarantined. And at the time in Taiwan, it was sort of the first major epidemic that they faced of that scale. And I still remember that they didn't seem to know how to approach it back then, and so they locked down the hospitals. A lot of health professionals felt that they were being forced to work against their will in these dangerous conditions. And so I think the second time, with COVID-19 coming around, when it affected Taiwan, they knew how to approach it very differently. They were prepared, just like a lot of the other countries that were previously affected by SARS or MERS, like South Korea previously was affected by MERS a couple of years ago. So they went into this situation a little more prepared, understanding kind of what was important to focus on and roll out very early on. And of course, we had a lot to learn here in the US because we haven't dealt with something like this at this scale since the 1918 flu pandemic. We're all trying to figure out, how to go about this. It's the first time any of us have had to live through something like this in our lifetimes. So SARS definitely informed my experience a little bit and how I approached viewing COVID-19. Everyone is looking for answers, and I think there's so many unanswered questions about the virus. And part of that is just the nature of science and medicine and the fact that we didn't know about this virus until a couple months ago, and we had to learn everything about it from scratch. And so there's been so much effort in trying to figure out even just what the symptoms are. At the beginning we were guessing at cough, fever, shortness of breath, but then we started learning about so many other symptoms. Even from the gastroenterology side of things, we were learning about diarrhea and nausea and loss of appetite and the inability to smell and all these other symptoms. But not only symptoms, we're also trying to learn about what potential treatments there are for the virus. We're trying to learn how the virus behaves, how it's spread among our communities, how to prevent a second surge, what's going to happen after we reopen things, how long people are going to remain immune to it after they've been infected. And I think another key thing about the pandemic is how it's highlighted a lot of the problems with our health system. They're not talking only about our hospitals and how they function, but also things like how our society is structured and why it's affecting some races more than others, or how the shutdown has caused people to lose their jobs and therefore lose their health insurance, or how the shutdown has delayed care in some ways and delayed cancer screenings, and how we're gonna have to deal with that once everything reopens again. But even from within the health system, from a gastroenterologist perspective, we've had to really rethink how we minimize exposure to our staff, to our patients, while making sure that people who need urgent care can still get it safely coming into the hospital. And we're all trying to figure it out because this is the first time, once again, we're having to deal with this. And we're also trying to think of ways to still be able to communicate with our patients, like telemedicine, where we're able to speak with our patients through video conferencing, through the phone, but also make sure that it doesn't overwhelm our system, because our systems simply weren't built to handle something like this up until this point. And we're having to learn and build and fix things along the way to make it work. There's just so much that goes into this, and obviously I'm not gonna sum this up in one little YouTube video, but I just wanted to talk about what's been going through my mind. And again, in terms of the lessons to be learned from the pandemic, I think that I've also learned a lot more about my own priorities and having to figure out like what's important to me, what my mind should be focusing on, and focusing a little bit more on self-care now that I'm realizing that, okay, it's taking a step back, this is what I'm dealing with, rather than zooming all over the place like I had actually been doing up until this point, which is why I haven't been on YouTube for a long time. So in any case, I know I've been rambling throughout this entire video, but if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Once again, I just want to extend my heartfelt sympathies to everyone during this time. We're all being affected by COVID-19 one way or another. So in any case, stay safe, stay healthy. I'll be back soon. Talk to you later. Bye.